What's up, Pocket Dudes? Welcome to Pokemon Go to the Movies, the Pokemon movie podcast from us here at the GigaBoots Podcast Network. I'm your host, Dan Video Games, and I'm joined by the whole crew. I've got Bob.
You're not from Kalos.
Dr. Acro.
Hashtag not all humans.
Chris Wolfhard.
Your honorary Pokemon.
And Millennium Mike's very own Shiba Yagato.
Hey, watch out for that Steam sale. It's gonna get you.
That's right, we watched the 19th Pokemon movie, Volcanion and the Mechanical Marvel. Or as it's known in Japan, Pokemon the movie X, Y, and Z, Volcanion and the Mechanical Magearna.
Oh, she is mechanical.
It's true.
On Wikipedia it says exquisite Magearna.
Ooh.
Huh.
But there is a lot of ambiguity in the U.S. title that's just not there. It's really spelled out in Japan.
It's like, Magearna's in this movie, watch it.
They didn't want people to go home and debate whether the Fortress or Magearna was the mechanical marvel.
So I'm not alone in this movie just seeming weird in how much more high effort it feels than like the last three, right?
If we want to jump ahead to that, this is a weird moment where it felt like a film.
Yeah, it's back to a full feature length. And stuff happens.
It has characters now.
They didn't have to pad all that much. I'm stunned.
Yeah, it's genuinely stunning to the point where even the ending song felt like the ending sequence feels self-serious in a way that what it's showing and how it carries itself, and it doesn't just set up, oh, next time we're going to this region or anything else. It's just concerned with the characters of the movie and how that ends for them. But that might just be me dealing with the ending song not being the most insufferable piece of crap song I've ever heard.
I don't know. It was kind of bad. It was a little bad, at least. You gotta admit.
You gotta know where I'm coming from here. I'm rating it on the Christian music scale, and it's doing pretty all right.
It's still kind of bad, even on that scale.
If you've never listened to Pokemon Go to the Movies before, what we're going to do is we're going to synopsize the movie, talk about the various bits and bobs in it, talk about the upsides, the downsides, the sideways sides, and then after that, we're going to get into our world-famous segments such as the Whimsy Meter, the Dex Check, the Gun Check, MVP, Most Valued Pokemon, of course, Is Ash in a Coma, and Arceus Ex Machina, and then after that, we will rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 809, because that's right. This is 7th gen. Wasn't it so tropical?
Yeah, absolutely.
Delightful change of climate from the usual.
I'm so glad we're not in some vaguely British fortress town again.
See, it's funny you say that, because the rip of the movie I watched this time, we're past Cartoon Network. We've evolved to the BBC logo in the corner.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Does it have a British dub?
Pokemon, isn't it?
Oh, man.
No,
right.
it's the regular English dub with the American voice cast. It's just a version that aired on the BBC, I guess.
Incredible.
And the BBC edited in Mr. Rhyme, and they're like, oh, it's Mr. Rhyme, isn't it?
Oh, like 6 years too early, too. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing what they can do with computers.
It's the power of science. It's fascinating.
Now, the opening of this movie had me really concerned, because the past few, they didn't open this way, and I thought that was a little bit of a buff. But this time, we're back to the wake-up Dragon Punch of fucking Pokemon movies. The very opening words... The world of Pokemon, brimming with beauty, variety, and majesty. They yell this, of course, as they do we put as many pictures of Pokemon as humanly possible on this thing and spin it.
Yeah, they just have a bunch of key art now. They don't even care. It's like, yeah, get all the Pokemon in there.
Look at how many we have 809. We ain't fucking around. They do that as it zooms through space, coming up on the planet Earth, which itself, metaphorically and visually on screen, a Pokeball of sorts. What could this mean for the larger theology of the Pokemon universe? I don't know, but I hope they explore it by the end of this series.
Pokeballs all the way down.
Anyway, they then talk about Mega Evolution and Normal Evolution, and they show a battle between Korrina, or as she's known in Japan, and I think they should have kept this name, Corny.
That's awesome.
Because it's Koroni fighting some guy, and I had a moment where I'm like, "Who is this? Who is this?"
Yeah, we
It's
couldn't
like,
find him.
Insert page flipping sounds as I'm looking for a guy because he has a design that looks like he should be someone from 6th gen or something.
Oh
but
man,
It does feel that way.
we didn't check any 7th gen designs. Maybe he's hiding somewhere in there.
I cannot see that pale motherfucker hanging out in a Lola.
No, I can't.
No, he's a
either.
tourist. It makes sense.
He would stand out like a sore thumb. He would be like the couple that are on tour there, where they're just like absolute tourists. It's real good.
Red and blue, yeah.
But yeah, they're like mega evolving. That's a thing, and it's perfectly natural to do and everything. There is a good way to mega evolve, kids. And then they give us the thumb up. And they say, stay away from drugs. Anyways, the intro ends. An airship rises up out of the clouds. It's highly rustic and it has mechanical nature to it, almost steampunkish. Pistons are firing wildly to drive it forward through the air, and two pilots named, thank you subtitles, Levi and Cherie, detect Volcanion on the radar system, saying it's coming back to get something. Volcanion lands on the deck, where Levi greets them with an Alakazam and Glalie? I've never been too sure on how that one said. And Levi uses his bracelet and calls out Mega Wave, which is like... just so you can get used to this, listener, it's evil Mega Evolution because it's got purple dark energy.
And the Pokemon are in pain.
Yeah, because Mega Evolution can only happen when the Pokemon and trainer truly understand each other. And this just brute forces it, so it's evil.
Meanwhile, Mega Wave can happen with a small syringe and you catching a Pokemon by surprise.
If you Mega Wave, you too could win the fucking, what is it, the Tour de France? Be careful about your Pokeballs. Something might go wrong.
Yeah, they might start malfunctioning. So, once again, only Mega Evolve responsibly and naturally. Anyways, the dark purple energy consumes the two Pokemon who seem in pain before they Mega Evolve with their glowing purple eyes and auras. They do two ineffective attacks before Levi throws a weird bracelet or shackle onto Volcanion. Upon noticing it, Volcanion then dodges the next bracelet, and Levi goes, use freeze dry. They freeze Volcanion and knock it off the ship. Title card. Pretty strong opening, I think, for this little tidbit. And I'm like, okay, cool. We got villains that are humans.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. We have Volcanion tired of the shit from the get. Pretty good. Hopefully this is not his only emotion the whole movie. Because
I was too busy just chanting airship the entire sequence.
Yeah, they do have an airship that looks a lot like the Final Fantasy VII Highwind.
It is
I
sick.
kind of get that. But can I just say, thank God this intro's brisk. Thank God we're just in and out within like 2 minutes. And thank fuck they kept me guessing on whether the Pokemon would talk. I'm so glad the Pokemon shut the fuck up for a few minutes before I had to come to the realization that, oh God, here we go again.
Yeah. Pikachu, Ash, and Clement team up to hang up clothes to dry. Serena's there too, as is Zygarde in its, I believe, core form. They forgot to draw a yellow or orange dot on its belly, so it didn't quite look like the core form, and it didn't quite look like the cell form. I'm going with core form. Clement and Ash start battling, which starts with Ash saying, Noivern, use this attack. And Noivern just sounds like it's puking, and I lose my mind.
Yeah. Noivern is a bunch of dry heaving noises. It's very funny.
So good. You just expect Ash to be like, Noivern, use this attack. And it's like, "Bleh," and the anime trainer's like, is your Pokemon okay? Have you been mega evolving evilly?
This is how all Noivern sound, I swear.
At least it's how mine sounds. I thought it was normal. He's been doing this for years. Anyways, they cut into a musical number as the battle starts. Volcanion crashes into the ground, stopping the battle. Somehow, Ash is captured in Volcanion's bracelet thing, the shackle, thrown on him by Levi, in a very much Knuckles Chaotix-like manner.
Yeah, they're going to have to use this to solve some really unintuitive puzzles.
I really hope this results in a weird Wild Wild West situation where they're dodging heat-seeking buzzsaws. Because that's all I think of when it comes to unrealistically strong magnetic connections on collars.
That's sad.
Look, that's a very specific thing.
I think of the old manga Kaniku Man where two villains magnetically connected their arms to clothesline people's heads off.
That's awesome.
That's sick.
I'm just wondering what that guy's plan was by sticking his, like, how you stick that guy's feet together and he still blows you up with his back arms.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know what his game plan was.
I assume we had more of these, and he's showing them so all his limbs were stuck together.
I mean, he already had an evil wiffle ball that was kicking the shit out of him, so...
I also just why would you make it so that it has that much like stretch on the length? If the point is to make it so Volcanion can't walk, then make it tighter. What the fuck?
That's a really good point. I was too caught up on other details of how the shackle doesn't make sense throughout the movie.
He was going to put the other shackle on the ship, so he'd be stuck to the ship.
And he's just dragging behind it in midair.
Right.
Just
But
like,
he threw it at his leg.
I don't
that's
know.
true.
How he
man.
stepped on it.
We don't know how three of them work together. Maybe we can bond a chain of three. So he would do two legs and the ship and then knock him off. Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, Volcanion talks. Ding.
Damn.
Volcanion.
Yeah, we were almost safe.
Volcanion thinks Ash is the one he keeps running into because he's human racist. Ash is surprised Volcanion can talk. How? How is he surprised?
Right? At this point, it's more surprising when Pokemon don't talk.
It's true.
I would be a lot more tolerant of these talking Pokemon if they just had voices that didn't match how they looked at all sometimes.
So you're saying if Mewtwo was like, humans caused all the destruction?
Yeah, we need Bobcat Goldthwait Mewtwo. Magearna should sound like Dr. Girlfriend from the Venture Brothers.
Oh, that'd be
Fucking
great.
hell.
Volcanion should just sound like the Monarch.
Caldeo should have been Michael Jai White doing his Sonic voice.
That's good. I raise you, Keldeo should have been Carl from Aqua Teen.
Even sassier. Clement puts on his scopes and he realizes this shackle that Ash ended up with and Volcanion has on his legs is in fact pulling them together Knuckles chaotic style. Only with these goggles can he see the connection that's there. Volcanion does not give a shit and just starts walking off, dragging Ash along. There's a whole sequence of Ash running to keep up with Volcanion as he smashes through rocks and then eventually flies away. We cut to a city where the airship has landed. Levi and Cherie are greeted by an old, weird steampunk wizard with an alakazam and a foppish, short, blonde boy with decorative gears sticking out of his shoulders.
These look uncomfortable.
They do.
They look like I'd be uncomfortable having to talk to them.
Oh God, steampunk LARPers. Oh boy.
I know, it's not even just steampunk. It's steampunk LARPers is the aesthetic of this movie. And that is delightful because you realize it more and more as time goes on because Ash gets an outfit later that has just been at hundreds of cons.
I have an awful realization that I may have just made just now. You think it's steampunk because Volcanion does steam attacks?
Yeah.
You know, I don't care that they got there through some weird brute force theming. As much as I'm glad that they just came up with a theme.
Yeah, a unique setting really helps one of these movies.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one component of why the Destiny Deoxys movie is so good. The other component being it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because that's the Silicon Valley town. Elsewhere, Team Rocket is eating delicious food in a cafe, and then Volcanion plus Ash fly up and wreck their day. Volcanion blames Ash for him not being able to fly correctly because he can't balance Ash's weight.
Seems like a skill issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really does seem like a skill issue. You're like 10 times his size.
Yeah, unless Ash is just actually like 500
Enormously
pounds of muscle.
I mean, that would make sense. We know he can hold a bird on his forearm that's insanely heavy.
I was gonna say maybe Ash has like that special anime disease where he has like Superman syndrome, so his muscle fibers are hyper dense, so he weighs like 300 pounds.
No, that's the weight of the aura that's with him all the time, every time.
You can really never tell how heavy anything in the Pokemon universe is by looking at it. You got to check the decks.
No, it's true. I was checking the decks on Magearna specifically, but we'll get to that later. Back on the dock, they open the blue container that they had in the ship that seemingly Volcanion was coming for. And it is gray form Magirna? The foppish boy greets joyfully this Magirna and says, I'm the prince of the Azoth kingdom. My name is Raleigh. Magirna bows and sees his emblem. Magirna then flashes back to the olden times, where Nicola, some old man who's an inventor, we'll go into that later, says that Magirna will be the heart and soul of their kingdom. This is his fervent hope. In the present, Raleigh apologizes if Magirna had any trouble getting there. Right as Ash flies by screaming and holding on to Volcanion. They're shocked to see this happening. Volcanion crashes into the deck. Raleigh asks if that's the Pokemon that wants to take Magirna back. The weird wizard guy uses Mega Wave, which everyone around here is into, and Mega evolves 3 Pokemon to attack Volcanion. Ash is dragged along for the battle. They lift and freeze Volcanion promptly, and Alakazam floats spoons in front of Magirna to try and calm her. Elsewhere, at a computer, yet another character. This one's named Flamel. She's a computer person. That may be the entire characterization.
I believe she's also the maid of the royal family or something to that effect.
Seemingly, yeah.
It seems like she's the princess's handmaiden, if anything.
Yeah. Flamel gives us information about Volcanion off of a computer because Nurse Joy was busy, I guess.
Or maybe that's never actually been her job, and she just took it up for a few episodes.
She was like, Flamel needs a break. I'll do it. Kimia, a lady who is just as Jin Kisaragi coded as Raleigh and obviously his sister or very young-looking mother, listens to the intel while climbing mechanical stairs inside of a cool-looking castle area. This leads to a secret passage behind a portrait of her and Raleigh. Then she retracts her dress with mechanical hydraulic sounds and gets on top of a steampunk motorcycle gyrocopter.
A lot of stuff is happening in this movie.
Yeah, and it's awesome. I mean, I'm more engaged than I've been in 5 movies.
Right?
Yeah. We're back to it being Diet Ghibli, but I'd rather have Diet Ghibli than the last 3 movies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No 40-minute chase sequence in this one.
That will stand out as one of my core memories of doing this entire series is just, and then 40 minutes of the movie are just them explaining how they tricked the Pokemon to follow a train that had one guy on it. Raleigh on the deck is beseeching the frozen Volcanion. Ash says it's bold to do such a thing while Volcanion is frozen. Raleigh then explains that Magirna was built by Nicola using arcane science over 500 years ago and is a Pokemon. He also explains that Nicola, he was a great inventor, very delightful man. Everyone loves him. He's the best. Definitely Tesla coded. But in the middle of a war, they lost Magirna. Volcanion's tired of this, and all hell breaks loose. Ash is flung forward by an explosion in the battle, grabs Magirna instinctively, and then the bracelet pulls him back to Volcanion. The main crew's Pokemon show up to try to rescue Ash. Volcanion then tells Magirna that they should go. She climbs aboard Volcanion, and then they just fly away while creating a ton of fog. Would you believe it? As much as I love Pokemon, I did not know a single thing about Volcanion before watching this movie. So the fog, I was like, oh, right, his thing, right. Forgot. Our main cast is running around the cool steampunk city, which honestly seems like it would fit into the Galar region a lot more so than Kalos. Neither of which is Alola, which is the gen Magirna's from.
Don't worry about it.
I don't know. I feel like steampunk floating city is pretty French.
I can vaguely see it.
It reminds me very specifically of a city in 8th gen.
Yeah, there is that city with the big gears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, the steampunk city with the giant gears is cool. Clement explains that Nicola is one of his all-time idols, and he built this city, and he's truly a great man. Back on the dock that they were at, Team Rocket climbs a hookshot cable to get on top of it, and everyone just stares at them blankly. All the bad guys are like, who are you, and what are you doing in our movie? Back in the city, Volcanion tells Magirna that he would walk through fire and water for her. I do not know if this would cause him any pain at all, so the statement seems empty.
Right, I was like, aren't you a fire water Pokemon?
Yep. Ash and Magirna go to shake hands after they introduce themselves, and Volcanion gets jealous and knocks Ash back to protect her. Volcanion tries to shoot water at Ash, but apparently he's spent, so he starts sucking up water out of the man-made river nearby.
I think it's crazy that before he does that, it goes beep, beep, beep because he's out of water.
Yeah, he goes beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, he has like a special noise for it. Like he's a robot too.
So he was in the movie, and he went beep, 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 and then all of his steam was gone.
Yeah.
No, see, in the Pokemon world, that trait in machines was inspired by specifically Volcanion, who has it as a natural mechanism.
Oh. Ash tells Volcanion that he will help defend them from the other guys if they come back. Volcanion gets mad at him and calls Pikachu an electric nuisance. Tensions come to a head, and then the rest of the main crew catches up to Ash and Volcanion. Elsewhere, Team Rocket informs Alva, who is the weird steampunk cosplay wizard from before, that they know lots about Ash. He is very pleased by this. Clement geeks out about meeting Magirna, Nicola's greatest invention. He then fails to get the shackles off of Ash, to which Volcanion says, "Humans are useless." Magirna tries to make things better between the two parties by popping flowers from its hand. Clement blushes and goes in to grab them, but then Volcanion blasts him, knocking Ash away with the water. Because Ash pushed Clement out of the way. Anyway, Serena says, "Hey, Ash, your clothes are ruined. Try these on," and hands him a steampunk cosplay outfit.
Hey, Ash, take off your pants in public.
Hey, Ash, take off your pants, even though this cuff should be stopping you from doing
Right,
just that and go
yes.
into an outfit change.
How do they do so many wardrobe changes for Ash in this movie? It's like, he has a giant metal shackle around his entire waist.
This is the only movie where you couldn't do this, and you've done it 3 times.
At the very least, put it under the clothes, so that way there's at least an excuse.
He's got to have enough room to like stuff a shirt down there, or he's not like moving or breathing.
A shirt and a
It's
jacket,
just
though,
weird.
aggro?
Yeah, like the vest. It's weird that he bothered.
Yes. Ash now in his dapper outfit. Yep, a bunch of notes here about how the hell did he do that, and also he got nude in a public space. Anyways, he's so
I love
steampunk
getting
now.
naked under bridges.
Thank you, Ash. Maybe a little bit quieter. I think the police are nearby. Volcanion is mad. This is his thing. So Magirna pops out flowers to calm him down. This makes Volcanion sneeze. Magirna slips and falls into the stream, which isn't very deep, but, she's like face first in and going, "Ah!" And then everyone's like, "Oh no." So Ash and Clement pull her out of the stream. Clement says, "You gotta admit, Magirna's heavy," and she's sad and embarrassed by this. Everyone has to explain to Clement that she didn't like being called heavy. Worth noting, Magirna is 177.5 pounds. Ash did not try to pull Magirna out, is what I've decided. That man is too powerful for Clement to be like, that was hard if he's helping.
Ash likes to make Clement feel like he's participating.
Oh, that's probably really good for Clement's self-esteem. Good job, Ash. Magirna and Volcanion have a disagreement on whether or not the humans can come with them. People in the nearby city start to notice the commotion, so Volcanion tells them they need to hurry now and blast the entire area with fog for cover. In the castle? It's inside the city, and I suppose it's a castle. Later we find out it's a fortress that flies. Anyways, Raleigh and his sister Kimia talk. Their father clearly doesn't trust Alva. Raleigh thinks he trusts Alva. There are giant gears everywhere. It looks pretty cool. And Kimia's assistant, Flamel, is there. Appreciate Flamel, everyone. We won't see much of her.
I feel like we never actually see their father either, which is a little weird with this conversation.
Yeah, we never see their dad.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm excited for later in the movie to find out if their dad's alive or dead or elsewhere.
Their dad is the king of a ridiculous steampunk city. He is on opium 24/7.
Yeah.
Vaping is so steampunk, it says ripping a fat one.
He has one of those hookah, one of those, things that has a million different tubes coming out of it.
Yes.
Yeah, the Hoopa Hookah. That's the movie we watched, right?
The hookah god! Out in the woods, Serena and Bonnie have adorned Magirna with feminine accoutrement like bows and stuff. Volcanion just stares blankly and then walks away. Ash and Volcanion do their whole weird arguing shtick that this is their thing, and like, oh, all humans bear the sin of a single human's actions, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I feel like we visited that exact idea earlier in Pokemon, but I'll let it pass. And they start doing physical comedy a little bit before Volcanion says, "Get off, or I'll blast you off," and he does a big explosion of steam. Magearna, to defend herself against the big explosion, turns into a ball, like Sonic the Hedgehog style, perfect sphere. Elsewhere, Alva says they're probably heading to Nebel Plateau. He sends Team Rocket to get them, which means Team Rocket, technically, is an important part of this film.
Yes.
Let's go!
Even more important than the one with the potato sack.
Yeah.
We've got a good run.
No, as soon as I saw them talking to the main villain group, I was praying for this, and then they gave it to me.
Yeah, because it was definitely within the realm of possibilities that it's like, yes, thank you, Team Rocket, have a good day. And then they just,
Yeah.
Leave the movie forever now.
they just do jack fucking shit for the rest of the film.
Although James is really off in this movie. He just sounds weird.
Mm-hmm.
They also didn't give him much material to work with. This is the least Team Rocket has been in comedy, I feel like, in the entire run.
Yeah.
I don't remember them making any puns. Out in the woods at night, Clement says, "The future is now thanks to science." And I think that's the last time we'll have to hear it.
Should be.
And deploys a suit he calls Mr. Iron Defense that looks like a fusion of a spacesuit and the Sonic comic dude who hammers in the no fun allowed sound.
Oh my God.
You're so right. Fuck.
Fuck. I hate you for being right.
I'm sorry, he popped into it and I was instantly like, now wait a second.
Now, getting a regular Jackodon's one thing. How the heck did he put this on?
It's very poofy. It's got presumably some hard rigging on it, so it just stays up around him. They should have given him like an inordinately large waist area so that way it could fit the shackle. That would
God.
have been really funny. Team Rocket spies on them camping and then says they should report it Alva. Before they talk a little bit and realize, wait a second, our real boss is the prince, so we could just get dough from him. So they decide to act now. They attack. The main cast notice their team isn't the normal Pokemon that they have, and they say that's because they aren't normal Team Rocket, and they pull out Mega Wave bracelets. They explain that it's powered by neo-arcane science, some vague philosophical debate of how it's wrong to do this occurs again in yet another Pokemon movie.
I don't think Wobbuffet's in this movie, which is real weird.
Yeah, Wobbuffet's not here at all.
There isn't a Mega Wobbuffet, is there?
I
No.
doubt it.
So there you go. You can't. They had to swap them all out for Mega-able Pokemon. Anyway, everyone but Ash, Pikachu, and Volcanion run away while Ash, Pikachu, and Volcanion try to fight off the now Mega-evolved Pokemon. They have to defend against Mega Pinsir and Mega Heracross. While running away, the main cast stumbles into a shallow hole covered by leaves.
It is the most low rent pit trap I have ever seen. Like, nobody's going to be trapped in it.
Yeah, it's the most shallow pit
Right?
I've seen.
They might twist their ankle and then they're going to be pissed.
And look, this is all Team Rocket can do, okay?
No, I respect that this worked somehow.
Right?
Those children can climb out and beat your ass in 5 minutes.
Oh my God. Is this the first time they've dug a pit trap in the movies?
I think so.
Maybe.
In the movies, I think so.
Yeah, because they do that all the time in the show, I
Yes.
think.
If it's happened
Yeah.
before, it happened once in the first 5 or so movies. But I don't think it did, but part of me feels like maybe it did happen there.
The only movie I can think of where it might have happened is Forever, because that's primarily in a forest. But even then, there's too much shit going on in Forever that's trying to be Mononoke to give us time for a pit trap.
Team Rocket suddenly appears the moment they fall into the hole. They're like, hey, we made that trap. And I'm like, whoa, they have Flash Step.
Yeah, how'd they get here? They were back there fighting Ash.
They're about to kidnap Magearna, but then a Gardevoir appears. Kimia flies down on a steampunk aircraft and has Gardevoir mega evolve to blast away Team Rocket.
Notably, not the same aircraft she had before. It was a hover bike. This is some weird big thing.
Yeah, this is more like a Mega Man Legends boat, but smaller sort of
Right.
deal. Anyways, Kimia and the main crew fly back on that ship, back to where the rest of them are battling. Volcanion is not thrilled to see even more humans. The battle is concluded, by the way. Kimia introduces herself. Magirna flashes back to a child in the Nicola times who looked exactly like Kimia, and then she pops out flowers for Kimia. The next day, Kimia explains that Raleigh idolized Nicola, and since Alva did arcane science, that he grew fond of Alva and trusted him. They arrive at an open area that's Zygarde from earlier in the movie. Did I even note that Zygarde earlier in the movie when it was in one shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It's named Squishy. It pops out of Bonnie's purse and just sort of runs around a little bit. Up further ahead, because nothing really happened in that scene, they find an injured Amara with a net around its neck. It's like the world's tiniest net. They're very sad for it. So Kimia says, oh, we can help carry this Amara to safety. And Volcanion is like, no, because that's his thing. A random poacher shows up and shoots Volcanion with the rocket launcher, and then they own the poacher immediately.
God, hats off to that guy, though. He saw opportunity, and he shot a fucking rocket at it.
It's like if someone drove up to Arceus and said, I'm going to hit that with my car.
That's basically what every 10-year-old protagonist in Gen 4 does.
It's so crazy they actually had this one scene of this poacher existing. I think he's dead now.
Yeah, I think he's fucking dead.
Oh, yeah.
Volcanion and the crew continue forth, carrying the Amora through a dense fog. They look at the splendors of nature as the fog separates, and Volcanion explains that this is Nebel Plateau. There are many Pokemon around, but they're scared of the main cast because that's humans. Humans are scary. They lay Amora down, and Serena and Bonnie pull out medical tools to help it. They put a bandage on it, and it freezes immediately. Clement explains that this is what happens with Ice-type Pokemon, and that's a sign it's healing. So with a Fire-type Pokemon, would it burst into flames immediately? And he's like, yeah, it's working, whatever.
That would be awesome. Also, what happened to potions?
Hey, they sprayed him down with the potion.
No, they sprayed it with, I think, a super potion.
Okay.
This is the first time in any of these movies one of these children has had a potion actively on them, and I'm grateful for it.
The series didn't start doing this until around X and Y of like, okay, let's actually have the potions exist as they do in the game.
Right.
Which is fucking insane.
Right.
Oh, no, they had potions in like the first season.
They mostly rely upon, if I remember correctly, berries and stuff, so that way it doesn't bring up questions of how potions are used or whatever. I feel like for most of the run they did that, but I'm no expert of the TV series. I am an expert in the movies. Volcanion tells Amora to sleep and that it's safe. Magirna plays a music box-like melody while rocking back and forth, and all the Pokemon bob along with it. Amora goes to sleep. The cast decides that the local Pokemon are scared because they're humans, so they should pull out their Pokemon to have fun with them and prove our main cast is friendly. So, what is it? Delphox, the final evolution of the finals, fire starter?
Yeah, but she doesn't have that. She has the middle.
Yeah, she has the Middle Evo because the Middle Evo is the best one for that line.
I'm going to
It
mix this
breaks
up in every fucking movie.
See how what she brought out wasn't hideous? And was something you could take to a Pokemon show and
See
people
how it
wouldn't
had
laugh
a
at you?
stick like a witch would?
Yeah.
That's the Middle Evo.
Oh. But yeah, it starts making fire hoops for Chespin to leap through, but its ass catches on fire and it starts running around and screaming. The funniest part of this movie, possibly, this pleases Esper.
Yes.
Yes. Mhm. That shot is gold.
Esper looks at this little guy suffering and goes,
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. I like these people. They lit Chespin on fire. Everyone starts to play along too, but then they notice, wait a minute. Volcanion was hurt by that rocket launcher.
Shocker.
Yeah, I know, right? Surprising. He walks off to a hot spring to heal, and Ash, of course, is pulled along because of the shackle and whatnot. When he gets into the hot spring, however, Ash's suit swells up and explodes as Clement screams, "Don't get in the water!"
How did he design it like this?
How could he have designed it like
Right?
this?
Like
I thought it was made of like some kind of metal because it's supposed to repel attacks.
Right.
Fuck you mean it's absorbent?
Apparently, it's just a hyper-dense foam that's made out of nothing but those weird, like, pills you drop in water to fully inflate into sponge animals? Unclear. Clement starts working on Kimia's airship and talking about how cool Nicola was. Ash and Volcanion talk about how he sleeps in his cave and keeps watch over the Nebel Plateau. But really, he's here because He never knows when he'll explode. Ash falls asleep on Volcanion, who then smiles.
I hope it happens right now.
What's up?
No, I hope it happens right now.
He's like, I'm really hoping I'm more about. The next day, Ash gets even more clothes because, reminder, his spacesuit exploded. Bonnie and Serena make a feast of some sort. Seems to be pastries and stuff from the looks of it. We'll find out later. With berries and stuff, and Pokemon start to bring them even more berries. Clement's trying to disable the shackle from being on top of a part of the airship that Kimia flew. It just looks like a shackle was thrown around one of the pistons.
It looks like it's on an engine or some sort.
Yeah.
It's really weird. When did this
In the
happen?
longer cut of the movie, we got to see even more of that.
Ooh.
I'm thinking it might just be like that the shackles were made of something that they had already used for building these sorts of things. So the general idea was if you can figure out how to split this, you can split the shackle because essentially they are made of the same thing.
That would make sense. It still is incredibly bizarre to me to take a hacksaw to a piece of a ship to be like, if I could break this.
Yeah.
Gulpin comes up while Clement's struggling with this, and Gulpin spews acid onto the belt. And Clement successfully gets it off with this saw at that point. They go, oh, this is great. Then we could do it to Ash and Volcanion next. So they spew acid onto Ash's belt shackle and then take a saw to it.
How are his clothes not ruined?
How is she not dead? He's so lucky to be alive.
The aura.
I have to imagine the aura is the only thing keeping that dumbass kid alive at this point.
But yeah, it works just fine. The end. After Gulpin cowers away from Ash, they go, huh? What's that about? And Litwick stands where Gulpin ran to and just stares blankly at the humans while frowning. Volcanion explains to Ash that now that they're free from each other, the humans should leave. They're mad again. Volcanion threatens to blast Ash, but at the last second, he de-escalates. Turns out that thing Kimia, Bonnie, Serena were making, that's Pokepuffs. Remember Pokepuffs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I passed a little French pastry place the other day, and I'm like, oh, Pokepuffs. I should have gone in and just said that. Been like, oh, these are like Pokepuffs. Anyway, the Pokepuffs are enjoyed by all the Pokemon, like Esper, who shows up yet again. Possible MVP. Who knows?
Yes, absolutely.
Ash brings Gulpin, Litwick, and Volcanion Puffs. Volcanion explains that Gulpin was abandoned by its owner, who gave it a big hug while leaving it behind. Oh, it's so sad. Pikachu tells Volcanion that Ash is honest and fights to protect the ones he loves. Volcanion's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm still angry. Elsewhere, in the Nebel Plateau, near our main crew, a Mega Gengar appears and spews darkness. It scares everyone everywhere.
Sorry, can I just interject with this Gengar's been shiny the entire time and I didn't tell until it Mega Evolved because fucking Gengar's shiny sucks ass? Can we just re-emphasize this fact? This Gengar's been shiny the whole time and I was like, why is it a little desaturated? And then it Mega Evolved and I went, what the fuck do you mean?
I thought that's just how the Mega Evolution looked.
Man.
Yeah, I forgot. That's one of the most frustrating ones where I'm like, oh, that's a shiny.
Because Ghastly's shiny is at least cool. Ghastly's shiny is kind of noticeable and it's a little subtle, but it's interesting. And then Haunter's just like, what if Tongue blew? And then Gengar fucking sucks.
This actually reminds me, Shibuya, correct me if I'm wrong. Your first shiny was a Dodrio in Pokemon Let's Go.
Doduo in Let's Go, yes.
So is that better or worse than the Gengar shiny?
Better because I can tell. The only reason it's better is because at a glance I can go, yeah, that's shiny.
Instead of squinting and being like, I guess this is unique.
Uh-huh.
Mechanical belt arms bust up out of the ground and snatch up the Pokemon. The two pilots from the airship in the opening, Levi and Cherie, are behind this operation and start tasing the Pokemon over and over with the belt arms. They also have a slew of Pokemon with them to fight Volcanion and Ash. They tell Magearna that she should just go with them. Only then will they stop tasing all the Pokemon. Magearna gets sad and starts to waddle her way towards them. Everyone is shocked and sad to see this. And then Levi and Cherie have Alakazam use Psychic to fly them all up to the airship where Alpha and Raleigh are. I love every time they do this in this movie. They're like, Pokemon no Psychic, let's fly.
It's so funny.
Yeah, the only one needs no psychic. He will fly everyone.
Everyone, he's that strong.
Yeah, he is. He is mega evolved.
Yeah, if he's mega evolved, then he's got more than enough juice.
On the airship, Alva has Gengar use Mean Look on Magearna, whose chest changes shape into a heart emblem on the front. Raleigh tells Alva to not steal its soul heart, and then he does. Then they chuck Magearna's limp body off of the ship and hyper beam the main cast.
God damn. Watching that Gengar enjoy tossing that husk was cold-blooded.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kept expecting all these evil mega evolved Pokemon to just like turn into ash at some point, like turn
Right.
into dust.
Right, yeah.
Oh.
Like it would just consume them like evil energy does in iconic sports movie. What is the name of that? Kung Fu Soccer? Shaolin Soccer?
Shaolin Soccer.
It
Yeah.
should be
Shaolin Soccer,
yeah.
yeah, where they do the drugs and all turn to dust.
Raleigh is devastated by all of this. Alva says it was done for the glory of Azoth, his ideal Azoth, and he puts Raleigh into hypnosis. Team Rocket inside the ship stares out in horror at the devastation and betrayal that has occurred. At the site of the hyper-beamed crater on the ground, our main crew was safe due to all of the Pokemon on the Nebel Plateau using Dig and then Safeguard, which they have to explain that's what they did because it is a very esoteric thing. You wouldn't expect that's what occurred there because they're
Right,
all
just-
covered in like auras and in the ground. That was pretty cool.
I'm just wondering, why not Protect? Because that's the one everyone associates with blocking damage. Why Safeguard?
Because they thought Protect is too obvious. They'll expect Protect.
I mean, shit, yeah, I did. That's fair, I guess. Calling me out.
They run up to Magearna's lifeless body. Volcanion puts the corpse, or doll, or frame on its back and starts to fill with water. Kimia flies up and tells everyone to get on board her ship. Alva says he thought Raleigh would understand, as Meowth senses Magearna's soul is in the soul heart and starts freaking out a little bit. Alva has Gengar yeet Team Rocket off of the ship using Psychic, except for Meowth. Very interesting.
I fucking love that scene. Like, Meowth is clearly bothered by what's happening, and in 0 seconds, Jesse and James are like, bet, we're betraying this guy.
Yeah, no, they're a tight-knit family. They get it. It's time to betray him because we've crossed a line here. On the airship, Kimia's airship specifically, Volcanion regales everyone with the story about how he met Magearna in a flower field in the Nebel Plateau. She has the golden red form in this flashback and pops flowers out to make him sneeze. Quote, Magearna was the first one I met who wasn't blown away by my explosions. Then there's a montage of Magearna taking care of other Pokemon. Elsewhere, Flamel, remember her, pulls up a diagram that was found in Raleigh's room, a blueprint of sorts for a mecha fortress that was sealed long ago. And apparently that thing utilized the Soul Heart. Elsewhere, Alva is utilizing the Soul Heart to reawaken the fortress, which
God.
lifts off and reconnects with itself in a new bizarre manner that's pretty cool. Alva sees them approaching the fortress and says the princess will be the fortress's first prey. He commands it to fire, but it won't because Magearna is clearly still in control. Meowth yells, Magearna is suffering! Its soul then remembers, yes, that's right, the soul heart itself even gets a flashback. Remembers Nicola regretting the creation of this terrible war machine, as the city they're in is mostly destroyed and in flames. Meowth keeps yelling about how much she's suffering, and Alva notes that she's still in there. The main team prepares an air unit of Pokemon to invade the fortress. On the rooftop, the enemies mega evolved, but evil, reminder, and all their Pokemon to deal with the assault. If you hear me say the word mega at the beginning of a Pokemon's name during the Dex Check segment, assume that Pokemon was on this rooftop right now, because they're all here.
Yeah, there's so many.
This battle is sick and absolutely cracked out. I will not be recapping any of it. It is too much too fast. The airship lands on the fortress. Ash gets out and yells, Greninja, let's power up! And then they do a synchronized arm thing as Greninja becomes Ash Greninja in midair and changes it. It looks really cool. There's more fighting, but Squishy, Zygarde, leaps into the fray and absorbs enough random green cells to become the 10% form, which is doggy mode for anyone who doesn't know, and attacks with Pikachu joining it. It's a pretty sick sequence of Pikachu holding onto the tail and getting flung around. Volcanion busts through the top of the fortress for them to invade further into the deeper depths of it as the battle continues on top. They run into the main chamber with Alva. It was pretty easy to find, apparently.
Not actually that big, I guess.
No, it looks so big from the outside, but inside I think it's like 3 rooms. Kimia notices that Raleigh is tied up. Alva traps them in straps and informs them if they move, it'll hurt. Volcanion says nonsense and immediately gets tased.
Always got to be one person who tests that.
True enough.
I mean, earlier, one of their Pokemon set up a stealth rock, and every time Volcanion took a step forward, it exploded. He stepped forward no less than 3 times.
Yeah, that dude is not very smart.
No.
I don't know why he and Ash don't get along.
He's not going to pick rock again.
It's that thing like Ichigo and Renji, they're too similar, so they have to fight.
Yeah. Alva has Gengar use Mean Look on Magearna's Soul Heart, so she has an evil Soul Heart and fires the cannon at the plateau. Alva said it missed, but the forest is still on fire, guys.
He missed the center of the plateau. He didn't miss the whole thing.
No, he didn't.
He missed the part Magearna cares most about, which is just all the Pokemon who live by that tree. Anybody else can get fucked.
Everyone else, go fuck yourself. Meow says, poor Magearna is really gone. Alva thanks Meowth and says its troublesome heart is finally out of the way. Sorry, I feel like this line needs a, its troublesome heart is finally out of the way. Volcanion says everyone needs to prepare themselves because he can't hold back anymore. He strains himself and accomplishes nothing. Alva shoots another beam. On the rooftop, Zygarde, doggy mode, flies off and becomes massive by absorbing a ton of cells. And then, as the Pokemon of the plateau try to fight back the beam with their own beam battle, Zygarde becomes kaiju mode and shoots a sick-ass beam into it, diffusing the whole beam battle.
So fucking good.
It is so cool.
Sure wish we got that Pokemon Z.
Well, we're getting Z-Day, don't worry.
That's true.
We might finally get anything for Zygarde.
Please, let my man eat! Volcanion breaks out of the restraints. Pikachu uses a bunch of moves and hits Leon's Mega Gengar. Pikachu's a little OP. Ash grabs Alva's staff and shoves it into the complicated gears, shattering the weird jewel inside of it. All the Pokemon unmega evolve. Unmega unevolve because the jewel is broken. Ash grabs the Soul Heart from inside the gears, and Team Rocket crawls up to free Meowth. Alva swipes his hands a few times in front of the control panel and says, my plans end here. I'll find a new puppet to replace Prince Raleigh, and tries to escape as he straps on a jetpack and tries to fly up. He puts up a wall of the belt arm strap things. But then Ash is like, yo, Greninja, fuck that shit up. He throws a fucking water shuriken, which explodes the wall, and it's like, it didn't reach Raleigh. That's so unfortunate. But a piece of shrapnel from the exploded wall of belt arms flies into his jetpack and completely fucks him up as he spins out of control. And I'm like, yo, it's just like Dark Void.
There is no universe in which Ash could have believed that instruction was non-lethal.
No.
He told Greninja to kill that man.
Yeah.
I am so upset that he did not explode while he was falling. I was waiting for it. I thought if any movie was just going to be like, no, he's dead, it would be this one with all the unbelievably evil shit he's been doing. But sadly, no, this still has to be for children. They can't have a man be vaporized in a jetpack explosion.
We're going to hit the Pokemon movie where it's like Mewtwo erased them from time. And they're like, what? No!
It's got Dr. Manhattan. They just see an imprint of him.
No, it's gonna be like Mewtwo's just. We're gonna see like a dream bubble of the guy's parents not meeting, and he just vanishes.
Oh my god. Shoutouts to Alva's Gengar, who, upon being unmega transformed, looks at him, sort of grins, and then fucks off. He just fades into that floor and dips because he knows shit is fucked. He knows this guy won't give a fuck about him. He is out of there.
It is so good. He's just like, peace. Slides through the ground, explains nothing.
It's so good.
Every opponent on the ceiling battle is then psychic away off the fortress by Alakazam. They just fly off after Alva. It's really weird. Inside, they put the soul heart back into Magearna, who's still unresponsive. Meow says its heart is still broken. Only now is the fortress beginning its descent, and it's going to crash into the Nebel Plateau. Kimia thinks about how this is all Alva's fault, and how even if they escape, the collision will obliterate everything in the Nebel Plateau. Volcanion is going to try to explode the fortress, but needs water, so they head to a water chamber, since the fortress is powered by steam. There's a valve that won't turn, so Ash has Pikachu use Steel Tail on it. Ash, please stop holding back in this film. We know. After Pikachu uses Steel Tail, they can move it now, and Raleigh is regretful of trusting Alva, which leads to Ash telling him to go on his own Pokemon journey, which is a really interesting thing to say to someone who's like, man, I'm a bad judge of character.
Well, you become a good judge of character by getting fucked over several times.
Yeah, that's fair. Volcanion...
Maybe you should wait till he's a little older.
Uh-huh.
When being a bad judge of character doesn't have significantly
larger stakes, yeah.
Larger stakes.
Maybe you should wait till you're off of this fucking ship that will be exploding soon.
Right.
I'm sorry, he turned 13. He has to go on his journey right now.
10.
Right?
10. It's 10. It's 10.
Oh, yeah,
This dude is baby. Volcanion absorbs the water. He takes a big gulp, and they start making their way through the fortress. A chunk of the fortress falls off and lands in a forest, scaring the nearby Starly. I assume they all escaped just fine, though. Everything's fine. No Pokemon was crushed by this giant chunk of fortress crushing the forest.
Yeah, it's like quarter mile of fortress that fell off.
Right?
Yeah, that's the quarter mile they moved out of a while ago. It's fine.
They're very casually walking through here. They have a whole conversation about how strong Volcanion is because early in the movie, he said he could level a whole mountain if he was really trying to. And Ash says, you don't have to do it from this weak spot room we're standing in. If you're really that strong, you could stand on top of the fortress and then we can make it out safely. He thinks about it and says, okay. After they get to the top, Volcanion lets everyone get on the airship and blast them away with steam, and he says, leave, before leaping back into the hole to do it like he planned before. He starts to power up inside and says, Magearna, I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. Ah! It explodes the entire fortress, sending chunks everywhere. Ash is upset that Volcanion lied, saying they could all go back together. At the plateau, they walk a mentally incapacitated Magearna back to the field with all the other Pokemon. They tell her that she's safe with all the Pokemon there. Alet Leo nuzzles Magearna, who is still out of it. It's a very sad moment. Fog starts to fill the plateau, though. Magearna stands up and wanders off, and upon hearing Volcanion, starts excitedly running towards him. They embrace, and Magearna makes happy sounds. I know because the subtitles, the whole movie, have told us the emotion of Magearna.
Yes.
Thank you, subtitles.
That's awesome.
I wish I had subtitles for my microwave so it could tell me what emotion it had. Volcanion then passes out. Everyone is worried, but Magearna thinks, I'll just pop out some flowers, which causes him to sneeze, and all the fog is blown away, and he yells, I told you not to do that! Ha ha ha, what a funny movie. Volcanion is surprised Ash and the rest are still here. Ash says that he protects Pokemon, so Volcanion says, this is an important moment in Pokemon history. I'm going to make you all honorary Nebel Plateau Pokemon, so humans are Pokemon! Confirmed! Everyone's excited to be classified as Pokemon. We'll see how they feel about it when they get trapped in a ball. Volcanion tells Pikachu that Ash seems to get in a lot of trouble, so Pikachu should take extra good care of him. Team Rocket watches from a rock, and that's it! Musical number as everyone leaves the plateau. This ending song, made specifically not for the tune and vibes of Pokemon overall. No, this song is called Soul Heart. And it is about the soul heart. It goes, close your eyes and know my soul heart, keeping watch over the rampart. Let me be your shining star, leading bright from afar, from wherever you were to whoever you are. Feel my soul heart now. Isn't it emotional?
I'm really glad Magirna didn't talk, and this wasn't her singing it.
It's just...
You can't prove it's not her innermost thoughts, Bob.
That's true. You can't. You don't know how she sounds.
That's true.
For some reason, I imagine Magirna singing sounding like that one AMV Hell clip where it's just the terrible lady singing, where it's all a cracking voice and stuff.
Jesus.
Anyway, the Pokemon in this outro with the musical number and stuff bury the pieces of the fortress. Alva is caught up in straps hanging from a tree, and Kimia finds him with the Mega Gardevoir, so they carry him off on the airship. He tries to leap out of the airship, but he has a shackle on, so he's just pulled back to it. Raleigh is seen in a different sort of outfit, a more bold one, I suppose, and he's on a path leading away from the town. He's joined by Slurpuff, and Kimia watches him from the city walls.
Presumably, he's been exiled.
Right?
The crown prince is no longer in the city when their dad gets into an unfortunate drug-fueled trip. She will be the one stuck in charge.
He is joined by Slurpuff. He's going to die.
Anyways, that's it. I already talked about my thoughts at the ending, at the beginning of this. So that's it for the synopsis. Let's get into our segments. But before we do that, hey, did you know you can get access to episodes of Pokemon Go to the Movies early if you head on over to patreon.com/gbpodcast to get early access to this and our other series, Chugging Bleach, where we are rewatching all of Bleach and talking about it. I spent almost a year of my life in the Bout arc. We also have commentary tracks for countless movies for our series Cursed Content Club and Cursed Content Committee. I think it's something like 70 commentary tracks or something you can go get over there for movies such as Nintendo Quest. Anyways, that's patreon.com/gbpodcast. Our first segment, Whimsy Meter. How whimsical is this movie on a scale of 1 to 10? Did it really hit you? Did it really not? We'll find out. We're going to start with Shibuya Gato.
There's a lot about this movie that is incredibly whimsical. I think the steampunk setting with the moving floors and the little elevator with the bronze steps is very cute. The plateau is just a hotbed of delightful little moments with funny little Pokemon. And the only major things that detract from that are Magirna going into a traumatic dissociative state and Volcanion threatening to kill himself to save everybody. Well, not threatening, he almost does it. But on the whole, I think this movie is too fucking whimsical. So I'm going to be giving it a 7.
Excellent. Dr. Aggro?
Yeah, this movie's got it all. It's got a fairy princess. It's got her racist guardian beast. It's got an evil wizard. It's got useless royalty in funny outfits. I'm going to give this movie an 8.
Yeah, I think they really said it best there. It really does hit all the notes of various whimsical fables. The only thing that doesn't make it more whimsical is like, it feels like the musical numbers are cut short both times in a really kind of funny and very much appreciated way. But I feel like we could crank up the whimsy if it was even more like, wow, nature is great. Look at all this, instead of them briefly doing that as they come into the Nebel Plateau. I'm really torn between a 7 and an 8. I'm going to go with 8. It is pretty high here. It could get higher, though. Bob.
Yeah, I feel like this is pretty much as whimsical as you can go and make it genuine. Anything more whimsical becomes saccharine and gross. So I'm going to give it an 8.
And Chris Wolfhard.
Yeah, this doesn't get into being sappily whimsy, but it's such a knockoff Ghibli movie. So it has an evil wizard and evil magic and multiple princesses, both real and allegorical, thematic princesses. So I'll also give it an 8.
And for anyone who missed the subtext, the other princess is Ash.
I thought it was the one in the past. All right.
No, what?
I thought you meant Magirna. I'll be real.
No, it totally was Magirna. But really, let's give it to Ash, shall we? So that brings us to the Dex check, which on a scale of 1 to 10, we talk about how good the Pokemon representation of this film was. But unfortunately, like always, I have to cover all the Pokemon that appeared in this movie. So here we go. Ash, Serena, Clement, Bonnie. I'm going to include Jesse and James because we're not sure where that mandate ended. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say Flamel also earned it, even if she wasn't there, and we're going to give it to Kimia as well, of course. Oh, and also, I guess, Pikachu, Meowth, Wobbuffet, Dedenne, Greninja, Talonflame, Halucha, Noivern, Braixen, Pancham, Sylveon, Bunnelby, Chespin, Luxray, Gorgeist. It's like gorgeous,
Gorgeist.
but a geist, so it's Gorgeist, because it's like a
Yeah, because
gourd.
Poltergeist.
Yeah, because it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Inkay, Wigglytuff, Lucario, Charizard, Gengar, Gardevoir, Swirlix, Slurpuff, Alakazam, Glalie, Steelix, Manectric, Heracross. Hey, at least someone remembered Heracross. Person who made a tweet about what's your favorite bug type and then included 2 first gen and no second. Anyway, Pinsir, Camerupt, Banette, Houndoom, Tyranitar, Pidgeot, Swampert. When you have to read 700 of these in a row, you start saying shit weird.
No, I respect it, but also he was swamming.
He was swimming. Yeah, he's Swampert. He's named after the natural ecological swamp. Aggron, Beedrill, Salamence, Sharpedo, Pansear, Purloin, Chikorita, Ambipon, Skitty, Donphin, Furfro, Snubble, Spoink, Delcatty, Machoke, Zygarde, Volcanion, Magearna, Masquerain, Fletchling, Mincino, Esper, Watchog, Zigzagoon, Litleo, Sentret, Baneri, Marill, Stunky, Starly, Amaura, Munchlax, Quilladin, Chestnut, Curlia, Aeron, Helioptile, Gulpin, Psyduck, Litwick, Scrafty, Patrat, Altaria, Claydol, Pidgey, Wormadam. Wormadam, son.
Where'd you get this one at?
Drillbur, Pidgeotto, Hippowdon, Ampharos, Skitty, Jolteon, Spritzy, Ralts. There was a Spritzy. Oh, it's in the flashback. Okay.
Yeah.
Pachirisu, Deerling, Scraggy, Hippopotas. Suicune. Huh. Hawlucha, Magikarp, Charizard, Piplup, Musharna, Metapod, Ninjask, Klefki. These must be in the spinning circles at this point.
Yeah, they have to be at the beginning.
Monferno, Bonsley, Mawile, Corfish, Gorbis, Growlithe, Glameow, Clink, Uxie. I've always said Uxie because it's self. What is it? Me, self, you is the pun with that trio. Anyways. Sylveon, Sandshrew, Quagsire, Voltorb, Lilligant, Gallade, Cresselia, Helioptile. Again? Abomasnow, Lapras, Onix, Garchomp, Bennett. Again? Medicham, Amoonguss, Aegis/Skidoo, or Skiddo. Gogoat, Vivillon, Azumarill, Skiploom, Oddish, Hoppip, and Heatran. And then there are a bunch of intro onlys I'm not even going to read because I swear they just covered that twice.
Yeah.
But apparently somewhere in this film was Zygarde 50% form and Meloetta Aria form in the intro. So they say. So, gentlemen, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good is the Pokemon representation in this film? We're going to start with Dr. Aggro.
So this movie has... it almost feels like a random selection of Pokemon at points. You've got weird points on the evolutionary line scattered throughout all these scenes. But honestly, every time I saw a new Pokemon, I was like, oh, that's a decent pick. Oh, that's a cool one you don't get to see very often. And I've always been a big fan of Volcanion. I'm kind of disappointed that the first time I really see him in motion, he doesn't use his back arms to like swing down like a door knocker really fast and beat the shit out of people.
Yeah.
I am also not shy about really, really not liking Mega Evolutions as a concept or as an execution most times. That having been said, Zygarde is in this movie and Zygarde rules out loud, and everything is going to balance out to like a 7.
You know, I used to have a problem with Mega Evolutions, but now swimming in these movies, I only have a problem with legendaries talking. That is what I've determined. Let's see. I go next. I think the Dex check is interesting here because it's a really balanced cast, but I'm realizing outside of Zygarde, I don't really pop up for anyone. I do think Magearna is a really good anchor point for this film's plot, and I think Magearna is a really cool design and an interesting concept. but realistically, there isn't anyone I'm really, really exploding about. There's a lack of like enthusiasm, except for about one Pokemon, which if it is stolen from me, an MVP, I will walk away in shame, regretting ever hosting the show. I am still gonna say pretty good reps here, pretty interesting stuff. I'm gonna give it just barely an 8. Just barely an 8. It just barely edges over. We're gonna head to Bob though. Bob?
Yeah, it feels like this one's filling the screen with Pokemon. Like it feels like we're in a Pokemon world, unlike the last couple that have been like, what? There's like 10.
Bob, you're saying it feels like we're really living in a Pokemon world?
I am.
Finally, the prophecy has come true.
And yeah, I didn't pop off for too many, but it was cool seeing an Alakazam as like a main villain. Like that was fun to see.
And he's so strong.
He is so strong. And I really enjoyed some of the just downtime with stuff like Leppin.
Gulpin?
Gulpin.
Okay, I was like, Leffen?
So I'm gonna give it an 8. Like it's a solid movie for this.
Next is Chris Wolfart.
I'm gonna be real. The scores I give to these dex checks is entirely based on how many Pokemon I personally like that I see in the movie in front of me.
So this number's really high, right?
Yes, there was a Gardevoir that did a shiny Gardevoir, which was strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them being shinies was wacky.
I think this is the first time in a movie we've ever seen a character have a shiny.
It's happened a couple times, but it wasn't like anyone's.
Has Ash's Noctowl been in any of the movies?
I don't
think so.
Because Ash's Noctowl is very explicitly a shiny.
I think it was in the last. I can't remember.
Also, the shiny Genesect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Genesect.
And also, is shiny Rayquaza black?
Yeah.
Yes,
Then
it's
there
black
you
with
go.
yellow.
So.
Also, the dogs from the Zorro movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. So we've had shinies, but it wasn't like anyone's favorite that was a shiny. Whereas Gardevoir
It's
is
not
really
just
high up on the
casual
list.
Pokemon most of the time, which is this is a nice change.
That's true.
We got to see a Sylveon, always great. We got to see Litwick.
Litwick is
one of
great.
the greatest Pokemon lines of all time.
Truth.
Litwick is great, but every time I say its name, it just has a cadence of dipshit.
And even if I am uncertain on Mega Evolution as a concept, most of the Pokemon they picked to get Mega Evolutions were pretty good. Or Pokemon I like. And there's a lot of them in this movie, so I'm going to give it a 9.
Ooh. Well, then next and ending out this segment is Shibuya Gato.
You know, before you read out that list, I was going to complain about specifically about how like half the gens have good rep and the other half are kind of lacking. The gens that have good rep being 1, 3, and 6 mostly, because those are the ones that we're really focused on in that gen. Given Kalos's love of sucking off Gen 1ers.
Yeah,
but gens 2, 4, and 5 felt a little lacking, and then you kept saying names, and I kept going, wait a second. Wait, they were here? What? It's interesting because I do agree that they like fully utilized the Pokemon they did pick, and there were some that I would keep looking at and going, holy shit. Like, the biggest one is Gulpin. What do you mean Gulpin has like a big role in a movie of any kind? Such an odd but charming choice. And then we got Camerupt, and we got Steelix, which I forgot Steelix had a fucking Mega Evolution.
Same.
I didn't realize that bastard had anything. I'm stunned. But we got, for a Mega lover like me, I'm eating good. We got Mega Pidgeot. We got Mega Beedrill. We got Mega Gengar shiny. It's insane. They gave me so much that I liked, but I feel certain gens are lacking so much I can't really give it too high of a score, but I'm still going to give it a 7 because I love Zigzagoon, and seeing the little guy just run around in zigzag circles around Pikachu was so fucking charming.
Also, thank you for listing off some of the Megas on that rooftop, because I guess that doesn't count as a different Pokemon as far as the Dex entry on Bulbapedia is concerned, because it didn't once have me say Mega, I don't think.
No.
Weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
Mega
'cause
Beedrill is hype as shit.
they have specific Mons that only show up in that sequence, so that is insane that they didn't count those.
Yeah, I feel like you should have just said Mega, 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 Mega on this listing, but oh well, that's fine. I understand. It's the same Pokemon. It's just different.
Well, they show them normal before they Mega Evolve, though, so that should still count.
I agree 100%. That is how I feel on that.
What What a weird way to organize your list.
I know it's a little strange. You should probably cut out redundancies and also include megas. Anyways, we're moving on now. Oh yeah, I guess I should say. Weirdly enough, both of our first two segments averaged out to an exact 7.8.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. We're moving on now to the gun check. Could this movie have been better solved with a gun? I get to go first. I think this is easily the most obvious. Shoot Alva.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you. The guy doesn't even seem mildly athletic.
No.
You enter a room with him in it and have a gun, he's done. He's not dodge rolling behind a countertop and sprinting out. No, it's over. This movie is so solved by a normal handgun. I'm saying yes.
We don't even have any evidence that Pokemon abilities can affect bullets. It might be like Faye trying to interact with Cold Iron.
True, no one in the Pokemon world has ever tried to shoot someone, so we have no evidence that Pokemon can stop them.
Except for that one park ranger whose episode was removed from reality.
Yeah.
I mean, we have rocket launchers. That's pretty close to a gun.
Kinda.
It's probably as close as we're getting.
But yeah, Bob, what's your rating? What do you say? Yay or nay?
Oh, absolutely. Alva's not even wearing armor. Let's be real. The main cast sees him several times. If Ash just rolled up there with the gun, it'd be over.
He's so smug about it too. He's like, "Don't worry, guys, I got this one." No, you stay here. I'll go solve the problem. They all stay on top of the fortress. Ash seems really confident. He does have the aura, guys. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the aura. That's a good point.
That's the sound the aura makes. Don't worry about it.
He channels the aura Green Lantern style to make a blue glowing gun.
It's like enormous.
Sometimes the aura looks like bullet wounds.
Just shouts aura sphere before capping a gun.
Yes, please.
Ash holding the gun sideways as a stand of him comes out of him that is also holding a gun sideways. Chris, what do you think? Is a gun solving this?
Yes. This one feels even more like a gun solves it than the average evil tech wizard villain, because this guy is just the evil advisor. The whole organization was not built by him to be evil. He's just directing it, so he's extra vulnerable to just being shot in the face.
Yeah, this seems like a really obvious open and closed case here.
Yeah, he has two guys helping him that would obviously not even care. Like, they just go back to their day job.
They're like, oh yeah, he got shot doing that. I am not doing that.
Yeah, but we don't have some grandstand here. We were doing this for money.
Shibuya, what do you think?
The king doesn't trust this motherfucker. Why hasn't the king come in and capped him yet? Yes, you shoot him in the head. You shoot his staff so he can't mega evolve. You treat Gengar with a modicum of respect, and Gengar will be like, bro, I can't stop a bullet. Fuck you.
You know, that's
It's
a good
so
point.
easy.
Do we see the king in this movie? Is he in any of the
No.
paintings? We don't even see him in painting.
It's just the princess saying, oh, father doesn't trust him. You should stop hanging around with him. Then why hasn't your father done shit, honey?
I assume that, given the kids look like Jin Kisaragi coded, that he's possibly Hakumen, and he will just eviscerate this dude.
Possibly.
We don't know.
The princess is going to have to go down there with the gun. I'm sorry.
For some reason, her holding a gun immediately gave her, like, what is it? I think her name's Beatrice from Umineko face. Like, in my
Oh, God,
brain.
yes.
I guess that's better than just going to Noel Vermillion, because Blaze Blue has ruined my mind.
Right, yeah. She's not doing flip kick gun kata over here. She's just a crazed murderer with a gun.
I'm just picturing this girl, this like really confident, really smart, nice princess doing the Beto laugh, and I'm losing it.
Yes.
It's so funny.
It's her time to shine. Dr. Aggro, you get to end the segment. Is this solvable with a gun?
Yeah, Kmart Jafar does not have it. All of his arcane science has not conjured up level 3 plates. If this country had any kind of an actual military or royal guard, or if the princess had told Flamel to just shoot his ass, I in my head, the moment Meowth started crying, I envisioned Jesse pulling out a gun and ending this movie.
Yeah, I feel like if any Pokemon character is strapped, it's Jesse.
So congratulations, everyone. That's the first unanimous gun check success since Shaman.
Jesus.
Oh.
This was a very solvable problem, is what we've all agreed here today.
Yeah.
I like that Alva's on the same tier as the NFT waifu bro. Phenomenal. Because yeah, he is that pathetic.
But our next segment is MVP. We get to celebrate the most valued Pokemon. And I feel like there are a number to choose from this time. Bob, you get to start.
I'm just going to give it to Alakazam. He flies the entire enemy team around. Without him, what would they even do?
They fly now?
They fly now.
Wow.
Thank you, Alakazam. Very mega of you. Chris, who's your MVP?
Gardevoir. It's important to remember that this is the gen where they made Gardevoir fairy type too.
Yeah.
So I always liked Mega Gardevoir, especially Mega Shiny Gardevoir, because it's like, that's what the last thing dragons see. Is this flower of death in a giant dress that's just going to erase them from history.
Yeah, they just touch the flower and get stuck infinitely in some weird stand action for the rest of eternity.
Yeah, that's Golden Experience Requiem.
Yep.
Yeah, Dragonite like flies at Mega Gardevoir and suddenly is lost in a forest for all eternity.
Shibuya Gato, who's your MVP?
Where the fuck would Alva be without Gengar? The answer is nowhere. It's Gengar. He knew what he had to do. He did it. And when things weren't working out, he pieced out for himself. And I love that.
Dr. Aggro?
I am going to have to give it to my boy Zygarde.
Hell yeah.
Just shows up in the middle of this movie like an honorary Reggie, solves one problem, and fucks off.
That X and Y anime must have had some crazy shit in it. I didn't know that Clement's fucking sister just carries around one of the legendaries. Like
X and Y is one of the ones I hear great things about. Yeah.
Yeah, the interesting thing is the later seasons are called X, Y, and Z. So I assume that's when Squishy shows up.
Probably.
It's listed like that on Amazon, too. I thought about it. I was like, I could just watch a lot of Pokemon. But no, I'm too busy watching a lot of Pokemon to watch a lot of Pokemon. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Ash Greninja. I think it's really important that we made that dude crash into the earth. Yes. I genuinely got scared that this was the setup for another trilogy of films where Alva would be involved.
Oh my God.
Thank fuck it wasn't.
I'm going to give it to Ash Greninja. I also find the concept of Ash Greninja real cool. Like everyone just being like, no, Ash has a special Greninja. And I'm like, oh shit. We haven't had that since this Pikachu that's just clearly different from all the others.
You know, this Greninja, I hear he's in the top 1% of Greninja.
Oh, shit.
it's crazy that now Ash's aura is so powerful it's leaking out and affecting Pokemon.
This child is irradiated with energy.
He's the Chernobyl of aura.
You
get too close, some shit's gonna happen.
People have to move away from like downwind of Ash. He's too strong.
Man, my traveling partners keep having to stop their journey to go get chemotherapy.
Why do they all
get
get sick
wrong with
after
that.
a couple of years? What's with that? Everyone gets sick around me. I'm so sad. Oh, well, I'll just forget.
I wanted to give an honorable mention in this segment to Volcanion for being a legendary with a job that he actually does and does competently.
Yes. Mm-hmm. He's possibly one of the Pokemon that's talked that I disliked the least for talking because he does accomplish his goal. He's not just needlessly sassy. Sure, he's ornery, but that is like his role, right? To just be this curmudgeonly protector. It works in a way that even if Magirna talked, wouldn't have worked as well, right?
He's also not the dumbass, fresh blood, young little guy who's beyond stupid that we've had for how many of these films? Like 5?
So many
Like,
of them.
For some of them, I can forgive it because, yes, it's a baby form of a Pokemon. You have an older one that talks and yada yada. But it's so nice to have just a Pokemon who talks but gets shit done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. He doesn't have a terrible catchphrase like, surprised you, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. We need to get to the bottom of this. This is the single most important investigation of this podcast and of the utmost importance to the public at large. Does this movie support the idea that Ash is in a coma? We're going to start with Chris Wolfhard.
No, I don't think Ash is in a coma this time. I think he's not focused enough. All the coma ones are when he's like the main character of reality.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, it feels like he's almost playing second banana to Volcanion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna assume that he is just awake.
Yeah, to me, it feels like there would be more of an energy of less a mechanical thing is what keeps you with the legendary, and more the legendary just keeps you around because you're important, kid. Shibuya, what do you think?
Yeah, I also don't think Ash is in a coma on this one because, and I forget which movie specifically we made this argument for previously, but I know we've said before that when Ash is actively in the coma, he's not conjuring up legendaries who hate him. And Volcanion fucking hates this boy at the start of this movie.
It's true.
So that's immediately a point against coma theory. And on top of that, the fact that Ash's only major accomplishment here, seemingly, is just almost killing Alva. Everything else was done by somebody else or was something that somebody else easily could have done.
It's true. This kingdom kind of is handling their own problems, and the Pokemon thereof are also handling it. It really is just Ash made sure this motherfucker didn't show up in another movie. Thank you.
Thank God. It's an important role, but it's a role that anyone realistically could have done.
Right.
So
with the gun, even, as we thoroughly discussed earlier.
You know what? If we shot the jetpack, maybe then it would have exploded. Who knows? Anyway, no coma.
Aggro?
Interestingly, all of your evidence for the no coma is my evidence for this being a coma. Ash has been in this vegetative state for so long, he's beginning to mature, to evolve, and he's starting to come to terms with the fact that he is probably going to spend the rest of his life hooked up to machines. And the entire first half of this movie is him coming to terms with his new identity as being intrinsically connected to this larger mechanism, trapped, as you might say, shackled to this large robotic presence in his life. But being unsocialized as he is, having grown up inside of this fantasy world, he's only able to really summon an avatar of this mechanical menace that has the exact same emotional maturity that he does, which is why Volcanion is basically Ash in a giant red robot body. Alva represents his forced loss of will without the, animate ability of being conscious, and him defeating him by straight murdering his ass off of the giant floating city fortress is representative of Ash coming to terms with the fact that while he may not have as much control over this new existence as he might want, he is still in control of inside his own mind, this existence that he has, and he has to find a way to be okay with that.
I think Ash is in a coma because he clearly played Knuckles Chaotix and went into the coma.
We got to put a sticker on that game.
Both very well thought and verbose answers. Thank you.
Bob, what do you think?
I really can't follow that up. Aggro is probably right, though. I think that what he said makes a lot of sense.
So you're going yes?
Yes.
I guess yes just barely won. I cursed the game Knuckles Chaotix for existing. That threw the vote. And we're going to talk about Arceus Ex Machina. Yes or no? Oh, wait, no. This is Dan, why did you write the word no there? Let me try that again.
Is there Arceus? Yes.
Did Arceus come out of a machine? Not this time. This is the only objectively correct category.
Actually, this is a science movie, so there is no God in this one. No.
This is a Pokemon movie for all the cool atheists.
Oh my God.
The next segment is Arceus Ex Machina. On a scale of 1 to 10, how conveniently did the movie wrap itself up to return to the status quo of the show? Did that occur in this film? And we are starting again with Shiba Yagato.
In the main show of X and Y, Ash Greninja is a thing, so tying that in doesn't really fuck with anything in the main canon. As far as I'm aware, this city is entirely made up and will disappear from existence again once Ash and Co. leave. So that doesn't fuck with anything. And all the craters left behind by this airship and all the people traumatized in the city, not our problem. I don't think there's any real things that need to be solved here. I'm giving it a 1.
You saying they would disappear after Ash left just made me think, is Ash like typing in keywords like this is .hack in order to jump into a world and then he just leaves?
It despawns it all when he's out of the range, yeah. It works off of Scarvio tech, where once you're far enough, it's just gone.
Wow. Fancy. Dr. Aggro, what do you think?
Yeah, there's not really a lot.
Wait. Dr. Aggro, what do you think in 4 sentences or less?
I will not be censored this way. There's really not a lot that needs to be addressed here. I mean, we've had cities that turned out to be giant mechanical monstrosities before. This is like a low tier logo legendary. I don't know how they deal with knowing that Zygarde is a thing with Squishy in the show, but maybe he was on the other side of the wall and they didn't see it. I'm with Shibuya on this one. This is like a 1.
Yeah, I'm also coming in at that. Like, there's not any huge revelations about the nature of the universe, no additions to the team, no grand experiences that they'll never forget. It's just the status quo of the real monsters are humans as it should be in Pokemon movies. I'm giving it a 1. Bob.
Okay, so I have knowledge of the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime.
In 4 sentences.
Magearna in the TV show in that season
Wait, what?
does not line up with what happens here at all.
No! What?
But that's made after this movie, so technically it's wrong.
Yeah.
So I,
Yeah, no, I'm going that way too, yeah.
but I'm still gonna give it a 10 because it doesn't line up.
But they didn't
Bob's
do anything.
shattering my worldview.
They didn't do
God.
anything.
It's usually the Arceus we're concerned about and less the Machina.
Damn it, now I'm going to have to go watch those episodes.
Yeah, unless somehow after this movie, Magearna is then taken to Lily's house and left there for years, and then Ash
Entirely
doesn't recognize it at all.
Yeah, I mean, Lily's got money, I assume, so, you know.
What if it's a different Magearna?
But there's only supposed to be one.
They literally say in this movie it's one of a kind. There's only one.
How do they know?
The Aether Foundation likes to fuck with things. Maybe they made a second one.
No,
And Ash forgot because he just got a head injury.
I really need Chris to be in these Pokemon movies because the most basic dialogue scene, they're like, there's only one of them and it was made 500 years ago. And he's like, how do you know? Just like, what sassy 10-year-old cat boy? What is that?
Just the community notes the character. Context added, the history of this region is poorly documented at best. So there's really no way of knowing that there's only one or really the origin at all.
We just have this mural that we keep taking tourists to.
Holy shit.
You know, that mural has all these tools that weren't invented until about 100 years ago. I'm willing to bet this entire fucking mural is fake and your religion's a lie.
These community notes are so exhaustive.
You come in, you destabilize the faith of an entire region of people, and then you leave and fuck off. And
I'll
they
take my badge
devolve
now.
So, Chris, what do you think? Where's this coming in 1 to 10 on the Arceus Ex Machina?
Well, until Bob threw a wrench into the affair.
know.
Yeah.
But this still came first, so I have to pretend like when you were watching this at the time, none of that other shit existed. So 1.
Yeah, see, that's the weird thing. I feel like that's more of a score for the show having an Arceus Ex Machina of matching up with the movies, right?
It's true.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe they did that, though. I mean, Magearna is a good design. Don't get me wrong.
They clearly just wanted to do more with it.
Well, that gives the average score on the Arceus Ex Machina a 2.8. It's got a little bit of Hitler particles coming from one corner of this. But we have finally reached the end. It's time for us to rate these movies on a scale of 1 to, and yes, that's right, it is a 7th gen movie, so 1 to 809. We're going to start with Dr. Aggro.
This was like a whole ass movie with characters and stuff happening and cool sequences and through lines that were made logical sense and Ash murdering a guy. This had everything that Pokemon movies have that makes them cool. I'm going to give this an Xbox 720.
Yeah, I really agree with Aggro. This felt like a film you would ever consider or conceive being in a theater at all. It is a fucking movie you watch that has an arc, a story, a theme. It feels really good to get back to this, if only for once. We hit so many bad ones in a row, it almost felt unreal. There were so many things happening between so many characters in Pokemon at any given time. Writing notes for this was exhausting. I really enjoyed it. I'm giving this a 704. Bob.
Yeah, it's actually a movie. I don't like Volcanion like at all, but it's everything going on here is a lot of fun. So I'm going to give it a 690.
Chris Wolfhart.
Yeah, this was an actual movie. Things happened. There wasn't a 40-minute long chase scene that took up most of the movie. The entire plot wasn't a misunderstanding or bizarre circumstance that somehow created a problem or something the rules are very unclear on to begin with. Keldeo. So I'm going to give this I think, God, I have to do math. I hate doing math. A 650.
Yeah, it is really appreciated that this film doesn't sit there and go, well, no one was actually wrong. It was just a misunderstanding. No, instead, this film goes, Alva's wrong and he deserves to die for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, too bad. It would have been higher if he had exploded. Like, that had gotten them up to, the equivalent of a 9.
It would have literally been my favorite Pokemon movie if he dark voided into the walls and went, oh, I'm in trouble. I just died.
I mean, if they even just had his legs break.
They're gonna kill him. That country does not seem to have a police force or a military or a royal guard. That princess is taking him back to the castle. She's going to put him next to a gear, and they're going to great mouse detective his ass.
That's cute. This is Gen 6. He's getting the guillotine.
Yeah.
The guillotine.
Let's go. I'm sorry. Are we calling in my favorite Lord of the Shadow World, Giratina? Let's go.
He's wearing like an executioner's hood.
God,
Executioner's hood and a little curly mustache, just for flavor.
It is the gear slowly drops his head off.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, Steven Yagato, what do you give this movie?
I need you to understand that the fear of God was in me when I saw that the runtime for this movie would be in a full hour and a half for the first time in how long?
Yeah.
You have to understand, I was so scared we would have so much bloat, so much padding, and it would suck. And then it wasn't that, and I was fucking delighted, and the setting is cute, and the cast gets along in a way that doesn't get on my fucking nerves. And Magierna was great, or Magierna. If I have one complaint, it's probably that I wish that the villain wasn't so in your... He should have been either more in your face, or he should have been a real twist villain. As it is, he's a little too middling for my tastes, but that's such a minor complaint in the grand scheme of things with a movie that I ended up having fun with and enjoying. And I can say that this is a movie I would recommend to people as a Pokemon movie.
Yeah.
If they just haven't seen one in 15 years and want a good newer one. I'm giving it a 700. It's a very solid movie.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't often finish these and immediately go, man, I want to just watch that again, but like normally. Like I'm really looking forward to revisiting my top 5 or whatever by the time we're done with this. And this is definitely, it feels for me, up there where I'm like, oh yeah, that would be great to rewatch. And it is, as you were saying, very recommendable to people who just haven't seen a Pokemon movie. Unlike maybe the past several, depending. But yeah, that's gonna do it. You have to do the math yourself, listener. Thank you for listening to this episode of Pokemon Go to the Movies. You don't have to you don't have to Pokemon Go home, but you can't Pokemon stay here. Go to Pokemon Sleep in your Pokemon home. Wait, no, did that one already. Hopefully,
hit up the Pokemon Bank and then go to our Patreon.
yeah, there we go. Yeah. Ranger?
Mystery Dungeon.
The executive producers for this GigaBoots video are Esme, Ely Broyles, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, A Reminder for Symphony of War, Cooper Tank, Very Best Plot, Iconic Bane, and Rado. Thank you very much to our executive producers. And also these guys. If you want to become an executive producer or normal patron, head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today.